Hello, this is Rhett Bartlett, and this is a very special football discovery. We have found audio of the 1971 Tasmanian Football League Grand Final. It was recorded by Mark Anderson and his father when they lived in Tasmania. It was a recording of the television broadcast. They put a tape machine next to the television and recorded the third and fourth quarters of the 1971 TFL Grand Final. We've managed to digitise that tape and we're going to play it for you now. Now keep in mind the audio does fluctuate a little bit occasionally. It might get slightly louder, but on the whole the quality is pretty damn good for something that's over 50 years of age. At the end of the recording, I've also left in Mark's father and a young Mark reviewing other results from the Tasmanian League that year, which I thought was a lovely touch. So here it is, the 1971 TFL Grand Final.
Mayne, TFL full forward, lines them up, and 1 point only. Well, that's the third costly miss in around about 7 or 8 minutes for Terry Mayne, the leading TFL full forward.
Now it's Joyce to kick in for the Bay. He looks like if he'll favour the centre oval. No, it's going towards the right street wing. Chance for Ricketts to mark. Arthur Budd was up there, wasn't paid the mark. It's towards Godfrey, over towards King. Now King racing towards goal again. As a pot shot at them, the roar of the crowd indicates that it's just a point. Sounded like a goal coming up by the spectators at the back of the goals, but another point to Clarence. Have been into attack quite consistently this time, but certainly can't do much about it.
I feel that King and Teague haven't been in the game as much as what everyone expected out of Harry. I think that the Sandy Bay Rovers are beating them, especially around the field play.
There's Anderson now in possession of the ball from a little kick off from Joyce. Over towards Mayne. Olsson coming in there, but what's happening is a free kick going Olsson's way for a kick in danger. Sandy Bay looking very good. Olsson, no doubt, steadying down play a little bit while players get in position. There's Sandy Bay's captain and coach's kick up towards their half-forward. Ricketts is up there a mile, but in front was Bob Whitehouse with Clarence. Whitehouse on with play immediately, up looking for Richmond. Richmond flew, yes, he's been paid the mark. Thought he pushed Fromberg out of the way early, but the ball may not have been close enough for a free kick to be given. John Richmond had a quiet day. Oh, drop kicks, a shocking kick indeed. Over towards Sandy Bay, but that player's kick wasn't so good. It's towards the wing position. In there was Pilkington, also Anderson, running out there now as the Sandy Bay player up towards Whitehouse. He missed the diving mark there. It's all Clarence. Nash gets a punch in towards Rowbottom and Morton. That's close to the border. Coming out there now is Rowbottom. He found hand passes over towards Whitehouse, and Clarence certainly spilling everything as the ball goes along towards King. King up looking for Bingley. He's in trouble. Punched away that time towards Terry Mayne. Mayne racing towards goal. Has a bounce. Can't get a kick in. It's a wild hand pass. Palfreyman in defence relieves the pressure for his side and kicks it right along the wing position.
And it's very close to the boundary line. In fact, it is over the line and out of bounds, and a free kick will go Clarence's way. Anderson receives the free kick. He came on at half-time. There's the kick onto the forward line. Up go the players. Nobody takes the decisive mark. Comes out of Palfreyman, defending well for Sandy Bay. Plays it towards the centre wing position. Up goes Anderson and pulls in a good mark. Wastes no time. Looking for Godfrey, but he comes out to Digitisation. He's showing pace. Comes around, goes around his own player, in fact. Puts the ball onto the forward line. But up goes Norris for Clarence and relieves the pressure. He goes for the short pass to West on the centre of the ground. West taps the ball away, but Olsson coming through. West is held, we're not in possession, and he'll receive the free kick. Races on immediately, looking for a teammate further afield. John Richmond leading out and takes the mark on his chest. He's lifted his play in this quarter too.
Clarence are playing a little bit better now, Norm, but they're not getting the result on the board.
A long kick from Richmond right up near the forward line, and it'll go very close to the boundary line. In fact, Greg Ricketts taps it over the line and out of bounds, and about 15 yards around from the behind post in Clarence's attacking zone.
Some of those players out there, Harry, are starting to get a little bit tired now.
Yes.
Hands on the knees, hands on the hips.
Pressure's been on all day, naturally in a grand final, and we see the ball once again punched over the boundary line, just a few yards gain for Sandy Bay. Cheek in there, also Ricketts. It's over towards Ricketts of Sandy Bay. He gets a hurried little kick in towards West, but the ball will bounce both players, West and Ivanito over there, and will be thrown in. Sandy Bay gradually working the ball out of their danger area. Here's the throw in again, and we see Godfrey, the contested, also Ricketts, but Ricketts flew up unattended. The kick was blocked that time by Clarence, and there was quite an obvious push in the back going to Craig West. West over towards Bingley. Bingley hand passes towards Budd. Can Clarence get their teamwork going as Budd has a high kick in the air, but it's over the boundary line on the full, and they certainly can't do anything wrong. Free kick going to Joyce of Sandy Bay. The kick's nullified, but what's the umpires rushing in to intercept?
Bringing Mayne back 15
Bringing
yards.
Mayne back 15 yards for going over the line. Kick from Joyce again. Gets right along the wing position. In there was Whitehouse, and Whitehouse certainly coming into the game a little bit. Kicks it over towards John Bingley. Bingley in centre half forward position. Goes on with play rather foolishly, but gets away up towards Teague. Oh, Teague trying to get rid of it. Over towards Mayne. Mayne can't control it. In possession now is Avery. Avery kicks it high in the air. An opportunity for Edwards to mark, but Clarence just got there, just in front of Steele. Goes on almost to be up for King. King and Mackey. Mackey flying in front of King. Look at him. Beautiful overhead mark. A beauty. There's Mackey's kick. Drives it right along the wing position. Setting himself was Palmer. And Clarence certainly playing a lot better, but can't get anything on the board. They're 51 to 106, and we've been going around 15 minutes into the third quarter. Richmond in possession now. Hand passes it wildly. Teague now has the possession. Falls over at the wrong moment. Can't get up. Is grabbed. Play on against the umpire. As Ricketts now trying to get hold of it. It's pushing and shoving there, and eventually goes over the boundary line and be thrown in Clarence's pocket forward position.
Players coming in to take the tap. But it's Godfrey in there for Clarence and Ricketts. Godfrey gets the tap out, comes over towards Styles, and hits it further along to Pilkington. He gets a quick handball but doesn't come off. Brimacombe endeavours to pick up, but we find that Whitehouse eventually does, gets a kick in, goes to Greg Ricketts, and he's been paid the mark. Must have just travelled the 10 yards, and Ricketts will relieve the pressure for Sandy Bay. There's his drop kick coming out towards the centre wing position. Brimacombe's there, but nobody can take the mark. Comes out to Morton, handles over to Olsson. Shepherd's off for him too, and Olsson gets the kick in onto the forward line for Sandy Bay. It's Nash who takes the good mark. He plays on immediately, puts the ball back to where it came from, but up goes Mackey, and he pulls in a good mark in front of Bingley. Mackey goes for the short pass across the field, looking for his teammate over there, but Godfrey flies and takes a good mark. Palfreyman was the player that Mackey was looking for, but didn't quite direct the ball to him. There's Godfrey's kick, right on the forward line. Up goes John Richmond, couldn't take the mark, comes out to King. King comes around onto his right foot, goes for the short pass to Anderson. It's hit away by Ricketts, comes out to Styles. Styles gets the ball onto the forward line, but up goes Wright, and he takes the mark for Clarence. Relieves the pressure as he puts the ball onto the centre wing. Anderson, who's everywhere, gets a quick kick in to West. West takes the mark on the forward line, or the half forward line for Clarence. He goes for a further short pass, looking for and finding Arthur Budd almost at centre half forward. Budd coming in. There's the kick from Budd. It's getting plenty of distance right up into the goal square. And it's a goal. Very handy goal, badly needed by Clarence and from Arthur Budd.
Simpson Refrigerators, the outperformers.
6. One Clarence player, Harry, that has been playing reasonably well all day is Arthur Budd. Much needed goal to Clarence. It breaks their drought. Now it's going to be interesting to see if they can continue on with it. Definitely going in a little bit harder at the ball than what they had previously been doing in the first two quarters.
There's the centre bounce from Olsson, and he's decided that he'll have a bounce again. No player can get clear with the ball. There it is. It's Whitehouse and Brimacombe. Brimacombe's knocked out of the way, but the tap played with Sandy Bay. Doran knocking the ball in strongly in front of him. Gets a hand pass over towards Pilkington. Pilkington, Millie Sandy Bay's best player, gets a hand pass back towards Morrison. Morrison back to the Sandy Bay player there in Doran, or Mackey. Mackey has a long shot at the goals. And underneath it there is Nash. Nash, yes, no, not played the mark. Play on, says the umpire. But it's close to the boundary. In fact, it rolls over and will be thrown in right in Sandy Bay's pocket forward position. Bit unlucky that time, Michael Nash. Had a couple of bites of the cherry, but he didn't pay it. There's the throw, and it's Brimacombe gets the tap. It's coming in there now is Rowbottom. Rowbottom relieves the pressure for his side up towards the wing position. There's a beautiful mark taken by Pilkington of Sandy Bay. A beauty that time.
Been a good player for them all day, Harry. Very dominating on that wing over there.
It's certainly killed Edwards as Pilkington kicks it right up into the goal square. The decision there, I think, may go to Morton. Yes, he paid it. I had a feeling that Clarence had hold of it first, but Morton has been paid the mark, and he's at point-blank range and should notch Sandy Bay's 17th goal. Morton coming in now. There's his kick. He hooked it, a single, bad mistake there by Lance Morton. And the burning question is now, are Sandy Bay dying in their run?
Well, Harry, 8 goals, 2 in front. I don't think that they could possibly die that much to let Clarence get back into the game, but it is a long way from over yet. I think this is one of Lance's traits in his game at the moment. He loses concentration when the pressure is off. And I think this is something that Rod Olsson will be up there keeping on to all of the Sandy Bay team about at the moment.
Kick-ins towards Rowbottom. Rowbottom trying to get clear of an opponent. Gets a kick in, but it's a dangerous one. It's right across goals. Pilkington there for Sandy Bay again. Bogan defending strongly. It's towards Adams now. Adams is grabbed. Must be holding the ball. Yes, the free kick will go to Edwards of Clarence. Quite an obvious free kick.
Yes, there's a very good tackle by Edwards. Went in hard, went in low, and gave Adams no chance.
It's towards Arthur Budd now of Clarence. He twists a couple of times and gets finally a kick in, up looking for Richmond. Richmond and Fromberg having a great battle there. Fromberg wins this particular duel, kicks it up looking for Pilkington. Pilkington wasn't paid the mark. Chipping in there now is Godfrey. He drives it right up forward from where it came from. Opportunity for Richmond and mark. Was he paid it? Looked to be a doubtful one to me, but umpire Olsson paid the mark to Johnny Richmond, who goes on with play almost immediately. Knocked away by the Sandy Bay defence. West of the front position now. Hand passes towards Mayne. Mayne, can he break through? He hooked it. And it's just a single. And now we see Clarence 8-10 to Sandy Bay 16-11.
The feature of Sandy Bay's play at the moment, Harry, is in the back line. They're punching away at all times. In the Clarence back line, they're trying to outmark the taller Sandy Bay forwards, and they can't do it successfully.
And Joyce has found Mackey on the half-back flank. He handballs over to Morrison. One bounce to Morrison, 2 bounces, got tons of time, and goes for the pass further field to Pilkington. One of the best men of field today. Pilkington with Sandy Bay into attack, looking for Adams. Adams almost took it one-handed, but it comes out to Nash, defending strongly for Clarence. The umpire's blown his whistle, and a free kick will go Clarence's way. Missed the infringement, and Bowden will receive the free kick. There's the kick from Bowden, a high torpedo punt going up towards the centre of the ground. The back fly, nobody can take the mark. The umpire's blown his whistle, and another infringement going Clarence's way. This time Arthur Budd will receive the free kick.
Clarence starting to rely on individual efforts rather than efforts of teamwork, which is certainly not going to be able to bring them back into the game. They've got to get that teamwork firing.
Morrison, the centre of the ground, puts Clarence into attack with a delightful punt kick right up to the forward line. Nobody takes the mark, comes out to King, who has a quick shot at them, but it is 1 point only, and Clarence now move along to 8 goals 11, 59, Sandy Bay 16, 11, 107.
Clarence could start popping those type of shots through them.
For quick Graham as we find Joyce, a delightful kick towards the half-back flank. Nobody takes the mark, comes out to West with his socks down, and West has a long shot towards the forward line, up go the players, almost to mark the cheek, but it comes out of the direction of Olsson. He gets a kick in towards the centre wing. Di Benito sets himself, so does West, almost pulls the mark, comes over to Rowbottom, who fumbles. Di Benito recovers, and with determination puts Sandy Bay into attack, looking for Morton, but up goes Palmer, and he pulls in a good mark. Palmer at centre half back for Clarence. There's the kick. A torpedo punt coming over towards the centre of the ground. Players set themselves. Ricketts almost takes a mark from behind. Comes out once again to Budd. He's come into the game in this quarter. Goes for the short pass to Bingley and finds him on the forward line. Bingley realises time is away as he comes in for his kick. Off the side of the boot and goes into the pocket where Avery takes a very good mark. Running with the flight of the ball. He goes for the short pass. Looking for him, finding Fromberg. Fromberg handballs back to Avery. Good play, Sandy Bay. And they get out of trouble once again towards the centre wing. And almost a mark to Palfreyman. Endeavours to pick up the ball. Eventually find West to so. Now it was Whitehouse. He clears onto the forward line for his side. Comes out of the direction of Bingley. Bingley endeavouring to pick the ball up. Does so. Drops the ball. will receive an infringement from the neck, and he plays on. And relays the ball into the forward pocket. Up goes Teague, and Teague's pulled on a mark. Handballs over to Richmond. Richmond scores it, and it is!
Free kick going Richmond's way. Gladwell not in possession.
Interesting point at this stage, Harry. I've noticed that West has been down with cramp. Now Barry Teague over in the centre of the ground also down with cramp. I've noticed none of the Sandy Bay players showing any sign of distress at this stage. And a very, very interesting point here. This goal is a most needed one for Clarence that Richmond is now going to have a shot at. I don't think Clarence would want any other player there other than Richmond to kick this one.
Here he comes now, Johnny Richmond, just about 8 or 9 yards out. There's the kick, no mistake. And Clarence just a little closer, 7 goals the difference now. And certainly their play has improved 100% in the last 15 minutes.
Yes, Harry, I've got to get that teamwork going. If I can get the teamwork going, they're back in this game, because I don't know whether Sandy Bay are having a bit of a spell, but they're starting to wilt slightly. I think the Clarence back line, centre line, are contesting a lot harder, a lot stronger, using more weight, but they still haven't got the creative players on their forward line to get into the game yet.
27 minutes gone into the third quarter. Umpire Olsson in charge. Bob Cheek and Brimacombe. It's towards King of Clarence. King hand passes towards West. He's in trouble and finally gets a kick in. Opportunity for Mackey to mark. Yes, he paid it. It was a good one too. Mackey in around about the centre-half back position for the Bay has been knocked very heavily during the game, but the true champion that he is, he's come back in right into it. Mackey's torpedo punt. Up for looking for Elliott, no doubt. In front was Bud. Couldn't control it. Coming in there now is Stiles. Stiles gets a kick in towards fellow rover Morrison, and Morrison has marked right on the half-forward position for Sandy Bay. 65 to 107. Just 7 goals the difference. A big start for Clarence. Can they get back in? That's the burning question so far. As Morrison has a shot at them. Knocked away that time by Rowbottom towards King. King trying to get into the game. All pushing and shoving. It gets hold of it. Good play by King. And passes towards Palmer. Good individual effort. Kicks it up towards the centre of the ground. Olsson in possession now. This trip, but not played the free kick. Mackey in there now. There's plenty of weight going into this game. As Clarence realising they can get back in the game. West with the front position now. Trying to break clear. Under a lot of pressure from Sandy Bay, but it gets a kick in towards Anderson. Anderson, who came on as a replacement, has possession now. It's a funny little kick towards Godfrey. Coming in there now is Mackey. Backing up well is Ricketts. Player unloaded there, but play on, says the umpire, as it goes towards Sandy Bay's half-forward line again. Flying from behind is Roger Steele. A beautiful mark by the dual William Leach medalist. Steele, definitely a possibility to kick this. He's going for the drop punt. The big distance kick, but won't make the grade. In there was Morton, but also Bowden. No mark paid to any player. In there now is Nash, who's had a comparatively quiet day. He kicked it high in the air. Chance for Steele to mark again. No, he missed it that time. Play on to the umpire. It's towards King. King's kick stops so good and goes over the boundary line on the full, and the free kick will go Sandy Bay's way.
We've played 28 minutes into the third quarter. Waiting on the
slight altercation there between Roger Steele and Michael Nash. I look at down there, Norm. The umpire's right on the ball, though.
Digitisation has the free kick. Rod Olsson signaling to put the ball right down into the goal square. Is a delightful kick from Digitisation. Up they go. Nobody takes the mark. It bounces awkwardly, comes out to Olsson. He drops the ball. The umpire's seen it. Now he says play on. Comes out to Divinito. Divinito taps the ball away. Comes back to Olsson, showing determination. Gets the kick into the forward line. Palfreyman's there. Handballs over to Morrison. Morrison lines them up. It's right through the centre. And Sandy Bay move along now to 17 goals 11, which is 113. A very handy lead at this stage of the 1971 grand final. Clarence, 9 goals 11, 65.
30 minutes gone into the third quarter, and that was certainly a good, very valuable goal to Sandy Bay, who have been technically goalless for quite some considerable time.
Yes, although Sandy Bay in this quarter kicked 4 against Clarence's 2. Clarence had kicked a lot of points and had a lot of the attack, but there again, Sandy Bay doing everything right.
It's towards Anderson now. He missed it. Finally gets possession. Hand passes towards Bingley. Bingley back towards Anderson again. Anderson up towards King. That player couldn't quite mark it, but gets possession okay and kicks it high in the air. Here's the backmen and forwards setting themselves. It's towards Mayne now. Mayne has a look at the big opening. Will it roll through? Yes, there's the quick answering goal from Clarence. And now it's still 7 goals the difference. It's the siren for the end of the third quarter. Teague's had a quiet day up towards Richmond, and Richmond's marked. Johnny Richmond getting back into the game. Goes on with play immediately up looking for Mayne. Mayne couldn't quite get hold of it. Good play by Barry Joyce that time. It's towards centre oval. Norris playing at centre half back now. Kicks it high in the air. There's a chance for West to mark, and West has marked it on their half-forward line. Clarence into attack in the early stages of the final quarter.
West coming in for the kick. And there it is. It's a high kick going right into the goal square. Players set themselves, and nobody can take the mark. Teague grabs the ball, handballs to nobody in particular, goes to Olsson, playing in the back pocket, and he gets a dribbly old kick towards the half-back flank. Teague recovers and gets the ball, comes around onto his left foot, has a shot at them. We'll find it is only 1 point, and that takes Clarence along now to 10 goals 12, a total of 72 to 17-11, 113 for Sandy Bay.
So far, Clarence doing all the attacking, Harry. They're throwing themselves in at a last desperate effort, I think, Phil.
Conditions perfect for football as Joyce elects to go along the right street wing. It's a good kick, too. Chance for Godfrey to mark. Went straight through his hands. Now it's over towards Bingley. It's over that player's head towards Whitehouse. Whitehouse, wild hand pass, intercepted cleverly by Victor DiVinetto up to centre oval. Here's Norris coming forward now for Clarence. Kicks it round the wing position where West has taken the mark. Oh, silly play by West that time. It recovered pretty well. Hand passes towards Bingley. Bingley, oh, funny old turn that time towards Anderson. Anderson back to Mayne. And Mayne racing towards an open goal. Has a shot of him. And they get a little bit close there, Clarence. They go now to 11 goals 12 to Sandy Bay's 7-11.
This bit of teamwork Clarence have showed all day in their forward line, Harry. They're going to need a lot more of it to pull this game out, but they're starting to fire. It could spell danger for Sandy Bay unless they get back into it. I see Olsson up there, a lot of directions to his players to get into the ball and to keep smothering it, something that they've got to do now.
And that's the 4th goal of the match to Terry Bay in full forward for Clarence. Certainly played a good game for him. We can remember his big effort last year in the grand final when he got 10. Bounce of the ball. We find getting very high was Whitehouse, but the umpire's seen an infringement and will go to Godfrey at Clarence. And a 15-yard penalty has been incurred. Pilkington threw the ball away. Foolish play at this stage of the final quarter when Clarence could possibly get a run on. Godfrey trips over. Puts Clarence into attack with a punt kick. Up goes the player down there, Duran, and takes the safe mark in defence for Sandy Bay. We'll settle the play down a little bit. Duran comes in. It's a high punt kick coming out towards the centre wing position. Morton goes high, but in front, Morris has been paid the mark. He wastes no time, plays on immediately, goes for the short pass. There was 4 Clarence players there, and Whitehouse took the mark. He comes on, puts Clarence into attack, a high, wobbly old punt kick into the pocket. Up goes King, couldn't take the mark. Avery comes out, comes around onto his right foot, goes for a kick. Fine Styles, he wastes no time and plays the ball around the boundary line towards the centre wing position, and a diving mark is spilled. Eventually we find Morton endeavouring to pick up the ball. He's grabbed, the umpire's blown his whistle, dropping the ball, and a free kick going to Clarence.
And it's Robert Norris to take the kick. There it is. It's over towards Barry Teague. Teague, realising that he must get on with play immediately, kicks it up towards Bingley, and Bingley is marked. Hand passes over towards West. West racing towards an open goal. Steadies. Has a got him, but it's offline. Only a single. Tense and tight football here so far in the last quarter as Clarence have done all the attacking so far, and the difference now is still round about 6 goals.
Quite obvious now that Clarence are going to play on at all costs, and it's the only way out of this game if they want to win it.
Back towards the centre-half forward position for the Roos. Arthur Budd coming in there. Couldn't control it. It's towards Sandy Bay, but umpire has found a free kick to Arthur Budd. And Budd to put the ball right up into the scoring zone. Elects to pass towards Anderson. A good kick by Arthur Budd and found the safe hands of the Clarence replacement, Anderson. There's his kick. It's a beautiful looking kick right up to the two goals. Richmond in possession. Couldn't get boot to Lever and through for another single to Clarence.
And that takes the score along now to Clarence, 11 goals, 14, a total of 80. Sandy Bay 17-11, 113. Brian Joyce to put the ball back into play for Sandy Bay. There's the kick. He elects to come down this side of the ground. Nobody can take the mark. It could go over the line without being touched. In fact, it does, and the free kick will go to Clarence. See who's going to take it. There's the short pass anyway. The umpire's blown his whistle. The player must come back over the mark. Ball being relayed back. It's Edwards, yes. The crowd obscured Edwards there for a little bit, but we now have him in picture, and Edwards goes for the kick onto the half-forward line for his side, and a good mark is pulled in by John Richmond. He's a long way out from goal and a fairly acute angle, but is a pretty good kick on his left foot. Runs around, and there's the kick from John Richmond. Delightful kick right up into the goal square, almost to the goal square. Teague goes.
The free kick going to Sandy Bay's way. Olsson was pushed right in the middle of the back. In fact, he was pushed for yards as Olsson on with play up towards Mackey. Mackey steadying down play, gets it along towards Ricketts. All Sandy Bay now. Ricketts bounces it once. Got a mile of room in front of him. Goes for the big kick again, but up towards Elliott. And Elliott missed it easy by the time. Allowed Rowbottom to get a little kick in, but it's towards West now. DiVinito in there also. West gets a hand pass back towards Norris. Norris in turn towards King and centre over. King, slow to get rid of it that time. Allowed Mackey to chip in for the Bay, but Mackey playing very well, and he gets it over towards Pilkington again. Pilkington trying to lift Sandy Bay. He's up a bit, gets it right up forward. An easy mark missed there by White. Allows Brimacombe to the front position. He's only got to get a kick in. It's hand pass towards Adams. Adams breaking clear. No, didn't get a kick in. Play on, says the umpire. Pilkington coming in now. Has a shot of them, but it's only a single. And, gee, that was tight football, Ricky Graham.
Very tight football, Harry. Now, like Pilkington then, he followed the ball right down from the wing. But the pressure of the Clarence backs was a little bit too great. The Clarence have got to keep this up if they got any chance at all.
There's the kick in from Bowden towards the safe hands of Whitehouse.
And players like Whitehouse have got to come into the game with their big marking, as they've been lacking it all day, Clarence.
Here's Edwards racing forward. Picks it up, looking for a floor there. Teague coming out and now gets a hand pass towards West. West, a chance to have a shot and picks it towards Dingley. Silly play by West. And intercepting the kick of West was Avery. It's towards centre oval again, and right in the centre of the ground, King is marked. Goes on with play up towards Arthur Budd. Budd left puts it high in the air. Cheek has an opportunity to mark. Has the set. No, it's knocked away by Ricketts towards Mayne. Mayne has a shot at the big opening, but play's been halted by the umpire.
Cheek has been paid the mark.
And Cheek is going to have a shot at goal. An opportunity to get the Blues a little closer. They certainly need some big 6-pointers.
John Dingley sadly out of touch, Harry. He hasn't been in the play all day, and an outstanding example then when Avery jumped in front of him to take that mark and a clear and dash down the wing.
Now it's Cheek. The tall Clarence ruckman around about 20 yards out, just on a slight angle. Crowd of about 20,000 watching this kick from the boot of Bob Cheek. There it goes. The crowd indicate to me that it's
1 point.
Just a point. It must have been the Sandy Bay supporters cheering that time.
I think it must have been, Harry.
A costly mistake by Bob Cheek, and now we see the score is Clarence 81 to Sandy Bay 114.
And waiting on the ball to be relayed back to Joyce so he can put it back into play. And we've played about 9 minutes into the final quarter. Joyce. There's the kick from Joyce, coming out to the half-back bank. Players set themselves. Whitehouse from behind will be paid the mark. He's definitely the only one who touched it, and he received the mark. He wastes no time and gets a high kick towards the forward line. Up goes Cheek, and he's marked only about 15 yards out and almost directly in front. So maybe he can atone for his error just a few moments ago when he scored a behind for Clarence.
Sandy Bay seem to be a little bit tough at this stage, Norm. They don't want to hang on to it for too long. They want to try and get right back into this game, attacking that ball like they did for the first 3 quarters.
Cheek lining them up. It's right through the centre, and that's a very handy goal to Clarence. They move along now to 12 goals, 15, a total of 87 to Sandy Bay, 17-12, 114.
Well, this is what
114.
Well, this is what Clarence have been looking for all day, Norm. Big Whitehouse took a mark, reloaded down to Bud Creek. He took a big one just out in front of the square. They haven't been doing it all day, but this is the sort of play that can bring Clarence right back into this game.
Only 4 goals, 3 the difference, and we've been playing some 10 minutes into the final quarter. Godfrey a chance to get hold of it. The stacks on the mill. Let's see, umpire Olsson will bounce it again. It's just practically in centre oval. Godfrey up a mile, over towards Edwards. Edwards gets a quick kick in, up looking for Anderson. Anderson is marked in centre half-forward position, just in front of Peter Thomberg. Over towards King. King up looking for Mayne, and Mayne is marked. Mayne would be around about 40 yards, 45 yards out. Definitely an opportunity to pick another major for Clarence. Finishing like a train, the Eastern Shore side. Can they make up the big lead? There's the kick from Terry Mayne. It's going to be close. It's a goal. And 13-15 now, Clarence to 17-12, Sandy Bay. 93 to 114.
That's Terry Mayne's 5th goal, Harry, although I don't think he's played as well as what he would have liked to have played. He's got the goals on the board, and this is what a full forward is there for. Now, this has certainly brought the crowd to life. There's a very tense atmosphere here now at the North Hobart ground, and what a game we're seeing. What a finish by the Clarence side. Is it another repeat of the Sandy Bay fold-up?
Here we find the bounce of the ball, and it comes out to Nigel Ricketts, puts Sandy Bay into attack, goes to Nash. Nash grabs the ball and puts it towards the half-back flank. Under the borders, way bottom, we find Elliott. Elliott playing in 36 Guernsey when his other one was ripped off. Comes around and puts Sandy Bay into attack, goes for the short pass. Slaughter's on it, don't know who's gone off. Comes to Steele. It'll beat Steele over the line and out of bounds in the forward position for Sandy Bay, outer side of the ground. Players coming in. Lynch, Brimacombe, also Godfrey. Olsson's there. Godfrey grabs the ball, turns around and gets a kick towards the centre wing position. There we find Braybottom coming down from the half-back flank. Handballs over to his teammate. And Clarence into attack once again. Comes out only to see Ricketts. Mark very safely misses. Handballs over to his teammate, who streams down the ground. Joyce it was and gets the ball onto the forward line. Up goes White. Top right handballs over to Palmer. Palmer on the half-back flank for Clarence. Puts the ball into attack. When he comes under it, couldn't mark the ball. It's hit further field by Durham. Comes over to Mackey. And Mackey with a long kick onto the forward line. And White spills the mark. Comes out in the direction. And endeavouring to get a kick in. Drops the ball. Was Elliott. Comes out to Adams. Adams handballs over to Palfreyman. Palfreyman further over to the umpires. Held up play.
And Adams going to Rodney Adams.
Only penalising Sandy Bay there, Harry. I thought the umpires should have acknowledged the free kick but called play on after he made the decision. Something umpires over here don't seem to do often enough, and that is to blow the whistle when they stop plays, to call play on when the team who has got possession of the ball are going into a better position. I feel that he's nullified Sandy Bay's forward move here.
Adams' kick is going close. It'll drop just a little short. And a mark there to Lance Morton. Oh, no, it's going Clarence's way. Or will he bounce it? He's going to bounce it. Well, look at it. Whitehouse is up a mile.
From here, Harry.
But he didn't play it. There's the bounce, right in Sandy Bay's scoring position. It's over towards Whitehouse again. Gets them out of trouble. Up towards Pilkington. Pilkington can't do it. Adams has the front position now. Can't pick it up. Finally does so. Will he have a shot? There's the shot from Adams, but the result's just a single. And that's Sandy Bay 17-13 now to Clarence 13-15. And we've been going just 14 minutes into the final quarter.
There's the kick in towards the half-back flank. Up goes Morrison, pulls in a good mark. He's got nobody to give it to, but goes for the kick to the centre wing position. It's muffled. Swords there for Sandy Bay. He came on just a few moments ago. Goes to Anderson. Anderson along the wing. A long handball over to Rowbottom. And Rowbottom puts Clarence into attack. Goes to Bingley. He endeavours to track it. Comes back to West with his socks down. West comes around. A very speedy player. It is... kick is nullified. He recovers. He's skittled. The umpire says play on. It'll go over the line and out of bounds right in front of the Ryde Street stand.
Steve Venuto off to Sandy Bay and Sword on the wing, Norm.
Right, thanks, Rick. And there's the throw in as the ruckman come in. It's from behind. Brimacombe gets the tap out. He gets his own tap and showing pace. Gets the kick in and puts Sandy Bay into attack. Right into the forward line. There's nobody home for them. It eludes Bowden. He falls over. Palmer can't tap it. Very close to the boundary line. Just in play as Palmer relieves the pressure for Clarence onto the centre wing position. Swords there. Couldn't do anything. Comes out to Bud. Bud with the ball in front of him. Comes up to Brimacombe. The umpire says a free kick to Bud and he'll receive it on the half-back flank.
There's Arthur Budd's kick right along the wing position towards Anderson. Anderson trapped, but gets a hand pass. It's wild. Allows Sandy Bay player to chip in and drive it right up to Adams. Adams couldn't get hold of it. Steele's knocking the ball along cleverly. Oh, ran a good distance, but was allowed to get away with it up towards Pilkington, and Pilkington is marked for Sandy Bay.
The really very good player on the ground, Harry Pilkington, being a damaging player from the first minute of play, and is still here in possession of the ball.
Would get my 3 votes easy, and he's kicked right up towards Mackey, and it appears now Sandy Bay are just steadying a little bit, steadying enough to win the flag for 1971. Mackey taking plenty of time over the kick, Olsson giving lots of instructions.
Hugely reliable kick for goal, Graham Mackey. I think he should just about put this through. If so, it could be the save for the Bay.
Here's the kick off the boot of Mackey. It's close. It's touched that time. Kick towards Morton. He's signalling something.
The goal.
It's a goal to Sandy Bay. Well, that certainly made it very tough now for Clarence. Who kicked it?
Mark Elliott.
Mark Elliott kicked it. Must have been off the table. Must have just got over the boundary line. And there's a goal to Sandy Bay. And Sandy Bay...
line of Sandy Bay have been keeping them in the game all day. Steele and Elliott very close in their top 6 players.
There's the centre bounce. It's towards Mackey again. Mackey putting the Bay into attack. It's Thornby on there for Clarence towards Morton now. Morton gets a handy hand pass out towards Palfreyman. Palfreyman, grabbed, couldn't get hold, a kick to leather. Nash was pushed right out of the way, yes, and will receive a free kick. Free kick going to Michael Nash, who elects to go on with it almost immediately, but it looks to be all Sandy Bay. Adams missed an easy one that time, and it stacks on the middle, and the ball will be bounced right on the centre oval. Fresh breeze getting up here now at North Hobart, and we've got round about 15 minutes to play in this the 1971 Grand Final. It's towards Roger Steele now, Sandy Bay. Steele kicks it high in there, no doubt looking for Lance Morton. In front was Bowden, but no player can take them out. Bowden trying to get clear with it, knocks it along towards Bud. Bud in a lot of trouble, but gets the boot to leather, and it rolls over the boundary line for a throw.
It'll be thrown in the half-forward flank for Sandy Bay. They lead 18-13, 121 to 13-15, 93. Ruckman coming in. Brimacombe's there, but it's hit away by Adams. Goes to Stiles, and Stiles puts Sandy Bay into attack right down towards Morton. He couldn't take the mark. He recovers, battling the ball along to his Bowden, but it'll go over the line and out of bounds as Clarence players came in from everywhere.
Free kick turns his way.
Taken by Bowden.
And he's limping a little bit too. There's the kick from Bowden coming out towards centre half-back. We find Godfrey when couldn't take the mark, but it comes over to King. King onto the forward line. It's hit in the direction of Bingley. Bingley can't pick it up, however. Avery clears for Sandy Bay with a good kick. Puts Sandy Bay back into attack. 3 Clarence players, 4-1 out. A bad play. Comes out towards Palmer. We find Thornbury's also on for Clarence, and Palmer puts Clarence onto the centre wing position. Brimacombe hits the ball to Doran. Doran gets a quick kick in, goes in the direction of Teague. Also we find Morrison there, but comes back to Teague. He's grabbed, gets a handball to King. King gets a kick onto the forward line for Clarence. Up there the players, nobody can take the decisive mark. Thornbury claims it, but the umpire will no doubt call play on as he does. Comes out the direction of Brimacombe. He's showing dash, put the ball in front of him. He's a fast player, and gets his kick onto the centre wing position. Up goes Pilkington, and Pilkington will receive the free kick.
Well, Sandy Bay standing up to the test here, Harry. It's a bit of a crisis point they reached, I feel, about 5 minutes ago, and they're throwing it right back up Clarence now and putting themselves right back into the game.
There's the kick, but it's been marked by Bob Teague of Clarence. Teague having a run on the ball. There's up towards, no, it's knocked away that time by Mackey, towards Whitehouse, back towards Bud. Bud running into a wall of players. Is grabbed while not in possession of the ball and will take the free kick. Sands of time running out for Clarence in this year's Premiership quest. It's up towards the full forward line. Once again, we see Avery in possession for Sandy Bay. Played a magnificent game for his side. Relieves the pressure up towards the wing position. Steele in there, couldn't mark it. Coming up there now is Palmer, but it's over the boundary line and it'll be thrown in for a throw-in right in centre wing position.
I think Clarence is starting to feel the pinch a little bit, Harry. They've slowed this play-on game. They were playing so successfully early in the quarter. It's slowed right down now, and they're starting to get the old fumbles back again. The sign of a tired side.
Whitehouse gets possession of the ball. Here's a chance for Mayne to pick up the Clarence, racing towards an open goal, but it's offline, and only a single. And now we see 13-16 to Sandy Bay, 18-13, and we're going, it looks like, 20 minutes into the final quarter. An estimated 10 minutes of play left, and certainly Sandy Bay 10-1 on to win the 1971 play.
Yes, Harry, I'd even have money on that now, I think.
And we find Joyce puts the ball back into play. Up goes Adams and pulls in a delightful mark. He's had been at full forward most of the day for Sandy Bay, but he's having the run on the ball. Adams, the fair-haired player, gets a delightful kick towards the centre wing position, very close to the boundary line. Comes out to Norris. He's grabbed, tagged by quite a few players. The umpire says, "It's my ball, gentlemen," and he'll bounce it up right in front of the Bright Street stand. Players coming in to take the tap. We find Cheek gets the tap over his head, comes out into the direction of Norris, and Norris swings around and gets the kick onto the forward line for Clarence. Up goes John Richmond, pushed Fromberg out. The umpire's seen it. Yes, definite free kick there, quite obvious, and Fromberg will receive the free kick on the half-back flank. There's the kick from Fromberg, right around the boundary line, going very close. Up goes Brimacombe, shouldn't take the mark. Nash is there, but it will be quite a number of players over the line and out of bounds.
I think so far, Harry, pace has been the key to this game because the Clarence high marking strength, they haven't gained ascendancy in the air all day. It's all been on the ground, and Sandy Bay outpaced them and still are outpacing them.
Here's the kick over towards Brent Palfreyman. Safe mark by that player. Kicks it over towards looking for Pilkington. Pilkington marked again. Has slashed Edwards today on the wing. Waiting for Pilkington. 6 Edwards along the wing position. A good mark has been taken by Morrison of Sandy Bay. Morrison, Styles, I beg your pardon. There's the kick. Good in running, it'll swing just offline, fifth through for a single. No, it didn't make the grade at all, and it's Whitehouse. Has a couple of bounces, kicks it right up and towards the centre of the ground. It seems to be all Sandy Bay. Bingley trying to get forward, was held by Dawn, but not played it. Chance for Steele now to pick hold of it.
Out on the full.
Out on the full, and the kick go to the Clarence player. We'll pick him up in just a moment. It looks like Kitch Edwards to take the free kick on the centre wing position.
I think John Bingley didn't want to forget his game today, Harry.
Well, as you speak, John Bingley has taken one of his few marks for the day. Elects to go on with a meeting looking for Richmond, but Fromberg in front. Yes, we've played the good mark by umpire Olsson. Peter Fromberg has certainly held Johnny Richmond down to a minimum today. There's the kick from the former Northern player. Host of players fly. Whitehouse trying to get control of it, but it stacks on the middle, and again we see a throw-in from the boundary umpire in centre wing position. Only about 8 or 9 minutes remaining. Brimacombe in there. It's picked up this time by Thornbury. Thornbury up towards the centre half forward position, and this time John Richmond got in front of Fromberg and took them out. There's a beautiful looking drop kick from that player. Mayne's in there, but couldn't do much about it. No mark taken. King tipping him now for Clarence. Has a shot of him. And there is their 14th made to the Clarence. 14-6 now to Sandy Bay. 18-13.
23.5 minutes gone in the quarter, Harry. Belated goal there by Clarence. Good play, Julia King starting the track. But I feel that they let their run a little bit too late. I think Sandy Bay are playing too well at this stage to lose it. And who'd want to lose a grand final at this stage after the great game that they've played? Rod Olsson out there spurring his players on, spurring one another on. How are they going to finish that off?
There's the throw into the centre of the ground. We find it comes out to Roger Steele. Steele comes around onto his left foot and puts Sandy Bay into take. Thornbury's under it and takes a good mark. Thornbury, who came on in this quarter, goes for the short pass, looking forward and finding Norris. almost on the centre wing. He handles back to Thornbury, who's in trouble. Comes out to Palfreyman, picks the ball up and puts Sandy Bay into attack very close to the boundary line. Over the line and out of bounds in the full, and Bowden or Norris will receive the free kick. Looks like Bowden, yes, he's been given the free kick. Looking for leads further afield. A high torpedo punt coming from Norris towards the centre wing. A pack of players goes up, comes to Titch Edwards. He gets a kick onto the forward line for Clarence. Cromberg's in front and showing judgment. Puts Sandy Bay into attack. It bounces off Rowbottom's knees. He recovers right through the centre of the ground. Good play, Rowbottom. And he puts Clarence in attack with a shocking kick. Goes to Avery. Avery puts Sandy Bay further down the field. Looking for almost finding Morrison. He taps the ball ahead. Misses the run of it. Comes out in the direction of Elliott. Elliott's got tons of time and puts the Bay into attack. Now we find Bowden falls over. Has almost been taken out. He recovers, picks the ball up and clears for Clarence to the half-back flank. Whitehouse is there, so too is Mackey. Mackey's got, but it comes out in the direction of the relieving kick under the centre wing position, or through the centre of the ground where Teague is there. Picks up the ball and puts it into attack for Clarence. Richmond's underneath it, but a good mark has been pulled in by Joyce.
Good relieving mark that time by Joyce. Mayne appeared to have the sit on it, but Joyce was up to the task and took a very timely mark indeed. 14-16 to 18-13.
Had a very good final series since I brought him in, Harry. Joyce had pulled back for the Bay.
He's done everything right now as Anderson kicks it right along the wing position looking for Mayne, and Mayne is marked within shooting distance, I would think, estimated about 50 yards out.
He hasn't been kicking that well from this angle all day, Harry. If ever he's wanted to kick one, now's the time to do it.
That's it, as Clarence supporters are watching this effort of Mayne. There's the kick, this will be close. Yes, it's another six-pointer, and now we see 15-16 to 18-13.
We come alive as there's the bounce. Cheek gets high and gets the tap over to Butt. He misses it. Comes out to Butt again coming through. But we find showing determination is Thornbury. Olsson picks up. Almost throws the ball. Comes to Steele. Steele's had a good day for Sandy Bay. Puts them into attack. Out of the forward line. The ball will roll over the line and out of bounds in front of Elliott. Bowden and also Hobart. Put back under play. Comes out to Pilkington, turns around. His kick is nullified. Comes over in the direction and handballing over to Whitehouse. And Whitehouse gets the kick and puts Clarence into attack. Out of the forward line. Plays on with it. Cromberg takes a very courageous mark at centre half-back. 121 or 106 in Sandy Bay's favour. Leads coming from everywhere, but Cromberg's going to ignore them.
Wants to kick the ball deep.
There's his kick. Through the centre of the ground. Olsson's underneath the ball. So it is Whitehouse. Couldn't take the mark. Comes to Mackey. He bounces the ball. Comes over to Adams. Adams handles over to Palfreyman. He couldn't control it. Comes to Thornbury. Swings around and gets his kick. Comes in the direction of Bingley. Tapped away from him. Good tap too. Comes out towards Palfreyman. Couldn't control the ball. Got a number of players making grab of it on the centre wing. And the umpire will bounce it up.
Lots of determination and strength towards Richmond. Richmond couldn't mark it. Cromberg battling on there to decide it. Coming out there now is King. King is pushed, but gets it over towards Mayne, and Mayne is marked. Lining him up now, he'll favour the drop punt. There's the kick from Mayne. It will be close. It's 6 points. And now we see 112 now to Clarence. To Sandy Bay, 121.
The last quarter.
39 minutes gone. As Teague goes up, it falls heavily, but it's over towards King now. Clarence into attack again. As King kick up towards Mayne. It's knocked away that time by Joyce. Here's a race to Joyce for the front position. Good play by the Sandy Bay backman. It's towards the centre oval. Flying high is Bartlett Budd. Budd puts the Rouge right into attack again towards Bingley. Bingley not quite at the mark. Down, says the umpire. Brimacombe gets it over towards Olsson. Olsson steadies and gets it towards Elliott. May have been a winning move for Sandy Bay. Lazily kicks it over towards Mackey. Mackey is marked on the centre half forward position and has been playing now 30 minutes. Sandy Bay's 1971 premiership. 112 to 121. Sandy Bay 18-13. To Clarence 16-16, and what was a very good game of football.
Also, an excellent game of football, played in the true spirit of the Australian game should be played. A very elated Sandy Bay out there in the centre, and they've got every reason to be.
Other Tasmanian Grand Final results. In the WTFA, Rosebery 2018 138, defeated Toorak 19-12, 126, as the club's first premiership ever. In the Deloraine League, Mole Creek 15-9, 99, defeated Hagley 7-9, 51. In the Amateurs State Division Premiership, University 26-12, 168, defeated Olsonians 3-14, 32. In the Southern Amateurs, University defeated Sorrel. Up in the NTFA, Scottsdale 21 goals, 10 behinds, defeated City South 5-13. In the NWFU, Latrobe 14-16 defeated East Devonport 5-9. In the state preliminary final, which is the match played between the NWFU Premierships side and the NTFA Premiership side, Latrobe, which were the NWFU's Premiership side, 13-13, defeated Scottsdale, the NTFA Premiership side, 9-14.
TFL first semi-final, Sandy Bay 15-28, 118, defeated Glenorchy 16-13, 109. TFL second semi-final, Clarence 18-9, 117, defeated New Norfolk 17-12, 114. Preliminary final, New Norfolk 13-20, 98, drew with Sandy Bay 15-8, 98. Preliminary final replay, Sandy Bay 18-14, 122, defeated New Norfolk 16-16, 112. Grand final, Sandy Bay 18-13, 121, defeated Clarence 16-16, 112. The best players for Sandy Bay were Mackey, Pilkington, Palfreyman, Morton, Fromberg, Elliott, Olsson. For Clarence, Whitehouse, West, Budd, Mayne, Palmer, Nash, King.
Goal kickers for Sandy Bay, Morton 4, Steele 3, Palfreyman 2, Adams 2, Elliott 2, Brimacombe, Pilkington, Lynch, Mackey and Morrison. For Clarence, Mayne 7, West 2, Richmond 2, Whitehouse, King, Teague, Budd and Cheek, 1 goal each.
TFL Reserves Grand Final, Sandy Bay 12-16, defeated New Norfolk 11-5. TFL Under 19 Grand Final, New Norfolk 17-13, defeated Lindisfarne 13-10. TFL 1971 William Leach Medal, Rod Olsson, Sandy Bay won by 1 vote from Hobart. VFA Second Division, Sunshine 22-26, defeated Brunswick 16-8. Geelong West finished last in First Division. They will go down to the Second Division in 1972.
Victorian Country League results, Alberton League, Welshpool 12-12, defeated Woodside 6-5. Latrobe Valley, Sale 12-15, defeated Terrelgan 12-6. Portland Port Fairy League, Tirrandarra were premiers 14-13, defeating Macarthur 11-10. West Gippsland, Corumburra 11-9, defeated Narnagoon 7-9. Clunes League, Bungaree 12-6, defeated Creswick 6-6. Wimmera League, Ararat 16-12, defeated Warwick Nabil 6-11. Federal League, Hyatt 17-10, defeated Springvale 12-7. And Clarence. These teams had not previously played each other in the grand final before. Clarence, prior to this match, had won one grand final, that being in last year. The teams are as follows: Sandy Bay,
Backs, Avery, Joyce, Greg Ricketts. Halfbacks, Fromberg, Dora and Nigel Ricketts. Centres, Venuto, Mackey, Pilkington. Half forwards, Elliott, Morton, Roger Steele. Forwards, Palfreyman, Adams, Morrison. Rucks, Lynch, Olsson, Rover, Styles, 19th Brimacombe, 20th Sward.
Clarence runners-up side. Backs: Nash, Norris, White. Half-backs: Rowbottom, Bowden and Palmer. Centres: West, Lynch and Edwards. Half-forwards: Richmond, Bingley and Budd. Forwards: Godfrey, Mayne and Teague. Rucks: Cheek and Whitehouse, Rover King, 19th Anderson, 20th Thornbury.